If you've tried everything but still wake up tired, this is why. Your sleep isn't broken. Your habits are. It's the people-pleasing, the clutter, the constant overthinking. These 5 energy drains feel normal, but they're silently wrecking your rest. Cut them out, and you'll start sleeping deeper in days. There's a sneaky thief of energy most people don't even notice. Unnecessary arguments. It starts with a comment, a tone, maybe a look, and suddenly you're 3 hours deep into a debate about nothing. The worst part? Most of these arguments don't change a thing. They just steal your peace and mess with your ability to rest. And when sleep leaves the building, so does your energy. You can't fall asleep if your brain is still throwing punches in an imaginary ring. You're lying in bed replaying comebacks, dissecting what they said, trying to win long after the battle's over. That mental tension turns into insomnia. Tight muscles, shallow breathing. No wonder you wake up feeling like you never went to bed. Your body may be still, but your mind's still swinging. And that mental chaos becomes physical fatigue the next day. Most arguments are just noise disguised as something important. They come dressed in urgency, fueled by ego, and leave you more exhausted than before. The truth is, you don't need to attend every fight you're invited to, especially not the ones that cost you your sleep. Not every hill is worth dying on, especially when you're this tired. Sometimes, letting it go is the smartest move you'll ever make. Here's something wild. Tired people argue more. It's science and common sense. When your energy is low, your patience wears thin. You're more sensitive, quicker to snap, and suddenly every little thing feels like a personal attack. And guess what? That sparks more arguments, and the cycle keeps spinning. Sleep-deprived minds look for fights instead of solutions. Breaking the cycle starts with awareness. Ask yourself, is this worth my sleep? If the answer is no, let it go. Let silence be your strategy. The more you practice restraint, the more energy you preserve, and the easier it becomes to fall asleep with a clear head. Sometimes the best comeback is peace, and peace makes your pillow feel like heaven. Sometimes the best way to protect your rest is to walk away with your peace intact. That doesn't make you weak, it makes you wise. The person who chooses rest over being right always wins in the long game. Sleep isn't just physical, it's emotional recovery too. And emotional clutter is just as exhausting as a messy room. You deserve better than carrying battles into bedtime. So next time someone tries to pull you into a petty debate, smile and save your energy. Remember, not everything needs a reaction. Some things need distance, a deep breath, and a good night's sleep. Because when you guard your peace, you guard your health. And with health comes energy, clarity, and real power. Rest is not weakness. It's your greatest strength. You ever notice how hard it is to relax in a messy room? Your eyes bounce from pile to pile. Your brain starts listing chores, and suddenly, you're anything but calm. Clutter is visual noise. It whispers, then it nags, then it screams, making it nearly impossible to feel truly at rest. And if your environment is chaotic, your sleep doesn't stand a chance. That mental chaos builds up quietly, but it always explodes at bedtime. Clutter doesn't just live on shelves and countertops. It creeps into your digital space, your schedule, even your thoughts. A phone filled with notifications, a calendar packed with nonsense, a mind overloaded with shoulds, all of it adds weight. And the heavier your mental load, the harder it is to drift off. Sleep craves simplicity, not sensory overload. It needs stillness, not more things begging for your attention. Your brain wants to shut down at night, not sort through yesterday's chaos. But if your space feels like a to-do list, your nervous system stays alert. That's why hotel rooms feel so peaceful. No junk, no distractions, just quiet. You can create that same feeling at home with a little intention. Tidy space, tidy mind, better rest. And with better rest comes better mornings and brighter moods. Start small. Clear off the nightstand. Make the bed. Delete 5 useless apps. Give your brain the signal. You're safe now. You can let go. You don't have to turn into a minimalist monk overnight. Just remove what doesn't serve you. What feels light at night will fuel fresh energy the next day. Here's a trick. Before bed, do a 2-minute sweep. Not to clean, but to clear. Put away the obvious mess. Close the tabs. Dim the lights. These little acts tell your body it's time to slow down. You're not just organizing your home. You're creating a doorway to deeper rest. It's a simple ritual that signals the day is done. Clarity creates calm, and calm invites sleep like an open window invites a breeze. If your surroundings feel heavy, so will your head. If your world feels light, so will your heart. Fatigue often starts in environments we've stopped noticing. The more you clear, the more energy you reclaim without even trying. And once you feel that freedom, clutter starts to lose its power over you. Your space is a mirror of your mind. A cluttered room breeds a cluttered mood. But a clean corner can feel like a fresh start. You don't need a new house to feel better. You just need to clear space for rest to come in. And once rest returns, so does the version of you who feels alive again. It's not just about stuff, it's about peace. Everything feels urgent these days. Every ping, buzz, and banner acts like it needs your attention right now. But most of it? It's noise pretending to be important. And this fake urgency fools your nervous system into staying on high alert. No wonder you feel tired all the time. You're running marathons in your mind and calling it being productive. Fake urgency is the enemy of real rest. When your brain thinks everything is life or death, it never gets a chance to power down. You're checking emails before bed, answering texts the second they arrive, jumping at every notification like it's a fire alarm. That constant state of readiness doesn't just kill your sleep, it drains your soul. And it keeps your body wired even when you're physically exhausted. The world won't collapse if you answer later. In fact, most things can wait, even if they pretend they can't. The more you treat every alert like a crisis, the more you teach your brain that peace is unsafe. That's how insomnia sneaks in. You're too wired to wind down, too stimulated to settle. Sleep can't compete with that kind of chaos. Here's the truth. Urgency is often manufactured by other people's expectations. Someone else's poor planning turns into your late-night stress. You feel guilty for not replying fast enough, for not being on 24/7s. But guess what? Boundaries are not rude. They're healthy. Your time, energy, and rest deserve protection, not apology. You have nothing to prove when you're protecting your peace. Start practicing digital discipline. Turn off non-essential notifications. Don't check your phone the minute you wake up or right before bed. Create off hours like your nervous system depends on it, because it does. Your energy needs downtime. And your sleep depends on how safe your brain feels to let go. Urgency should be the exception, not the rule. If everything is urgent, then nothing truly is. You get to decide what deserves your immediate attention and what doesn't. Reclaim that power. When you stop jumping for every ping, you start reclaiming your peace. And peace is the first step to deep, healing rest. What you don't respond to tonight could be the reason you sleep like a baby. Your pillow is not a war zone. It's not a conference room or a crisis center. It's a sanctuary. When you treat your evenings like sacred time, fake urgency starts to fade. And in that quiet space, real rest can finally return. Because no notification is more important than your ability to feel fresh tomorrow. The world can wait. Your well-being can't. Overthinking is like leaving your brain's engine running all night. You're lying there, lights off, eyes closed, but your thoughts are wide awake doing laps around your head. Every decision, Every conversation, every what if suddenly shows up like an uninvited guest. It's not thinking. It's mental clutter on repeat. And it's the enemy of sleep and peace. Your pillow becomes a stage for thoughts that refuse to rest. The problem with overthinking is it feels like solving, but it's not. It's just spinning in circles, wasting precious energy while producing nothing useful. It makes small things feel massive, and possible outcomes seem like guaranteed disasters. Your body is begging for rest, but your mind is convinced it needs to stay in control. So instead of drifting off, you're stuck in mental quicksand. When the brain won't stop, the body can't settle. Your nervous system stays stuck in alert mode, even in the quiet of night. That's how you end up physically tired, but mentally wired. You toss, you turn, you replay, you predict. All that mental noise blocks the signal your brain needs to start the sleep cycle. You're not relaxing. You're rehearsing stress. Most overthinking comes from fear. Fear of what might happen. Fear of what people think. Fear of not being good enough. That fear tricks you into believing you can think your way to safety. But safety doesn't come from more analysis. It comes from acceptance, boundaries, and trust. Rest begins when you allow things to be unresolved for the night. So here's the trick. Give your brain a closing shift. Just like a store locks up for the evening, you can set a time when you stop processing. Write things down. Make a simple plan for tomorrow. Then tell your mind, you've done enough for today. It sounds silly, but it works. When your mind feels heard, it quiets down faster. Meditation helps, not because it makes thoughts disappear, but because it changes your relationship with them. You start observing instead of reacting. Thoughts come and go without dragging you into another spiral. And over time, your brain learns to wind down instead of ramping up. That shift leads to sleep that actually feels like rest, not just survival. And that kind of rest is the fuel your energy has been waiting for. You don't need to solve your whole life before bedtime. You need space to breathe. Overthinking is a habit, but so is resting. One creates fatigue. The other fuels energy. Every time you choose calm over control, you build a brain that knows how to let go. And that, my friend, is the real path to peace and deep sleep. People-pleasing sounds kind, but it's really just chronic self-abandonment. You say yes when you mean no, smile when you're tired, and stretch yourself thin trying to keep everyone happy. But while they sleep peacefully, you lie awake, drained and resentful. Because underneath the people-pleaser is someone exhausted from carrying everyone else's expectations. And sleep becomes just another thing you sacrifice. It starts small. A favor here, a task there, a little silence to avoid conflict. But slowly your needs get buried. You become the go-to for everyone else's comfort while your own comfort is constantly delayed. That builds resentment, even if you don't admit it. And resentment is loud when the lights go out. You may call it insomnia, but really, it's emotional overload. When you're always available to others, you become unavailable to yourself. Your energy gets hijacked by guilt, fear of disappointing, and the endless pressure to be liked. And guess what? That pressure doesn't end when the day does. It follows you into the night, filling your thoughts, tightening your chest, keeping your mind too busy to rest. Your bed becomes a guilt chamber. People-pleasing creates false urgency and fake identity. You start doing things not because you want to, but because you feel you have to. That tension lives in your body and keeps your nervous system stuck in high gear. When you're constantly performing, your brain never feels safe enough to shut down. Rest doesn't come from being liked. It comes from being honest with yourself. Learning to say no is like learning a new language. At first, it feels awkward. You fear rejection, judgment, maybe even conflict. But slowly your confidence grows. You realize that every no to others is a yes to your peace. And your peace is what creates space for real sleep to return. Not just sleep, but sleep without guilt. The people who truly love you won't disappear when you set boundaries. They'll adapt. And the ones who don't? They were never there for the real you anyway. Pleasing others at the cost of your health is too high a price. You weren't born to be everyone's solution. You were born to be whole. And wholeness begins with rest. Start practicing small acts of honesty. Speak up when you're tired. Ask for space. Choose one thing today to say no to. Not to be rude, but to be real. Sleep comes easiest to those who feel safe being themselves. And when you stop trying to be everything for everyone, you finally have enough energy left for you. You don't need more sleep tips. You need less of what's stealing your rest. Start small. Pick one of these 5 habits and cut its power today. Because when you change what drains you, you change how deeply you rest, think, and live. So ask yourself, which of these sleep killers are you secretly feeding? If this hit home, imagine what's coming next. Make sure you subscribe, turn on the bell, and stick around, because the rest you're looking for starts right here.